Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank. With 35 locations throughout the New Orleans area and beyond, that's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. Baseball, and more baseball. First of all, congratulations to Delgado. They got that first win, that elusive win at the College World Series in Junction, Colorado, the Junior College World Series. Alas, it wasn't to be, as they got knocked out on Sunday, scored enough runs, just didn't have enough pitching, and at altitude, that's a tough thing.
It is, and you get down deep into the pitching staff, and they were already, a couple of arms short, as it were. So, look, you hit the nail on the head. Getting that first win was big, and if you saw Joe Sherman's press conference after the game on Sunday, he was very emotional, recalling going up there, with his dad Rags back in 1985, and and as an interesting coincidence, it was also Joe Sherman's 900th career win in Delgado in 26 years. So 3 years from now or so, we may be talking about him getting to 1,000 wins. So congratulations to the Dolphins all the way around. Obviously, the furthest they have advanced, and they've got a lot of guys back next year. So we'll maybe talking about this after Memorial Day again next year.
Surely should be the case. Of course, 5 Louisiana teams in the Division I baseball NCAA tournament, which begins this weekend. And we start with the 2 hosts, LSU and Louisiana Lafayette. LSU not just a host, but they got the final national seed. So what they did in the SEC tournament and before that at the end of the season did make a difference, because they went out over South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Ole Miss.
Yeah, and again, while they lost in the semifinals to Florida, had Ole Miss beaten Texas A&M in that other semifinal game, that might have been talking about Ole Miss being the 8th national seed and LSU being a team potentially having to travel for the Super Regional. So it played out very well for them. A lot of comebacks in the SEC tournament to get themselves in position. Talk about rally possums and all that kind of stuff, if you will. But still in all, look, this team played well in the month of May, played well down the stretch. And while it's not a factor in basketball anymore, it is a factor in baseball as they evaluate. LSU and Clemson both played well down the stretch, and they got those last 2 national seeds. We were pretty certain about the other 6. It was going to come down to those last 2, and LSU and Clemson got them.
And Louisiana Lafayette left no doubt. They went out and took care of business, winning their tournament as well, and they solidified their spot as a regional host.
Yeah, and look, I totally agree with that decision. I felt like, and wrote about it and said, look, they get a tournament title to go with this piece of the regular season title. They are definitely in position to host, again, the way they finished the season. Had Tulane done that, we might have been having this conversation about Tulane, although Tulane didn't have the RPI that UL Lafayette did. And I think the committee leaned a lot on the RPIs. When you look at the host, 16 of the top 17 in the RPI got the host. Now, they didn't totally lean on RPIs. As you pointed out yesterday, North Carolina, with their 13-17 conference record, finished 11th in the ACC, but they had a top 20 RPI, got left out. So it's look, the thing that hurt North Carolina, they didn't make their conference tournament, finishing 11th. And there's people in the room who still think if you don't make your conference tournament, you don't belong in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Alabama and Kentucky could make the argument from the SEC. As always, that will be the case. You mentioned Tulane, of course, and then, of course, you look at the rest of the field. Louisiana Tech, great story to come back from where they've been in baseball to become significant again. Great to see the Bulldogs in.
Yeah, it is. And, heading to Mississippi State as a 3 seed where they will play Cal State Fullerton. It's been so long since they've been in the tournament that Cal State Fullerton was in their regional the last time they made it, back in 1987 out at Privateer Park, where we saw 5 Louisiana teams in the tournament, and they were all sent to the same regional back in the days of 6-team regionals. Those were a lot of fun. Some warm afternoons out there.
You bet.
Let's just say. But no, congratulations to them. And look, certainly as we're talking about a large team, congratulations to Southeastern. What a job by them. I think they had put themselves squarely on the bubble heading in to the final week of the season, but did what they needed to do. Weren't a lot of upsets. Got themselves to the finals of the Southland tournament to get their first ever at-large berth.
And the beauty of it all is that 4 Louisiana teams could emerge, because you've got only one duplicate situation, and that's Southeastern playing in Baton Rouge. Everybody else is at a different locale.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting. We went back and looked. 2005 is the last time we had 5 teams from Louisiana in the field. And the last time it happened, all 5 teams were in the same part of the bracket where only one team could get to Omaha. And that was, of course, the year that Tulane was the number 1 national seed. LSU hosted. Oh, by the way, Rice was the number 2 seed there that year and beat LSU. And ended up coming to New Orleans to play Tulane in that super regional, the last games at the old Turchin Stadium. But all 5 teams that year were in that 8-team bracket, if you will. Southern and UL Lafayette came to New Orleans. Northwestern State played in Baton Rouge. So that's how it shook out. Now you've got a chance that they're all spread out into 4 different brackets. You said Southeastern and LSU are the only 2 that are in the same bracket. Lafayette has no Louisiana teams in their bracket. Tulane going to Ole Miss, Louisiana Tech going to Mississippi State. So it's quite possible we could see some teams, make some runs if they can put it together this week, and more than one.
Looking forward to it. The Saints and OTAs last week, of course, we were there, and you can read about what transpired at SportsNOLA.com and resuming, and we'll have more later this week. And obviously, enthusiasm reigns as long as it doesn't rain.
Exactly, as long as it doesn't rain. But
you got an indoor facility.
Exactly, which will get some use this week, by the way, even if the Saints don't use it, because LSU's going to be having one of the satellite camps there on Friday.
Yes, sir. Jim Harbaugh won't be there?
No, I don't think he'll be there, and I don't think Willie Fritz will be there either. Yeah, so that's, they're going their separate ways, which Ed Daniels wrote about a couple of weeks ago on our site and nailed it, by the way. I don't blame either school for doing what it is that they're doing there.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think he was right on point. And as always, good stuff that you'll find at SportsNOLA.com, and a lot of stories this week that pertain to the NCAA baseball tournament. So we look forward to that as well. And incidentally, you can start looking for a high school football preview starting later this week, which we'll have all summer long leading up to the high school football season. We look forward to that. I'm tired talking about it, but guess what? It's always good.
It is, and we're 3 months away from the start of the regular season. And before we go, Ken, our thoughts and our prayers with the family of Arthur Schott. Life well lived. Pete Barriquet did a great job of jumping in there and conveying just the importance of Arthur Schott to the baseball community in New Orleans. His services on Wednesday at St. Pius Church here in New Orleans would have turned 98 years old later this summer. They got that the distinguished award, being the official baseball historian of Louisiana, a well-deserved title he held for more than 4 decades, and we will all miss him, no question.
Amazing man, a great friend. I loved him very much, and I'll be there on Wednesday as well. Lenny, as always, thank you. Have a great week.
All right, we'll see you later this week.
That's our First NBC Bank weekend review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. He's Lenny. I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.